Hi there! Today we're going to learn how to make a durag. So here we're going to make the pattern. Now I've already done the cheat lines. I'm just going to do it quickly. So the first one we're going to make a rectangle that's 9.5 inches wide by 4 3/4 inches tall, or in centimeters that would be 12 centimeters by 24 centimeters across, 12 centimeters down. All right, so that's the first. So I've already done the rectangle, but just for, and those of you who are seeing me for the first time, I'm going quickly because a lot of this stuff I've covered in the previous lessons. So in order to make the video quick, I'm not going to go over how important it is to have square rectangles when you start and all that. Get that from the, I apologize, get that from the earlier videos. Okay, so we have here our perfect rectangle. Again, it's 24 centimeters long by 12 centimeters tall, or 9.5 wide by 4 3/4 tall. You really should do it in pencil. Again, I'll repeat this, I've said it before. I just use the magic markers so that you can see what I'm doing. But in real life, you'll use a very thin line. You don't want to add excess. Okay. The durag is really, you'll only need 3 pattern pieces. I'm going to go ahead and do the 3 rectangles first and then show you the lines to do in the middle. So the first rectangle we've done, I'm trying to do it in both inches and centimeters. So yeah, 51 centimeters or 20 inches by 2.5 inches or 6.5 centimeters. I know I say centimeters wrong, I'm sorry. I got used to saying it that way. And then the third piece that you'll need is actually not a perfect rectangle. So this one you don't really need the square ruler because it's not a perfect rectangle. It's going to be a little thinner on one side than the other side. So on this side, it's going to be 2.5 inches or 6.5 centimeters by 23 inches long or 58.5 centimeters long. And I'm adding a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. I've already included those in the other things that I'm doing, but I didn't include it here. So it's actually going to be a 1/4 inch taller. I'm sorry. I should probably do this one on the table. So far this part is a perfectly square. This is a 90-degree angle here. However, over here, this side is only 2 inches. It's a 1/2 inch smaller because that's the part that's going to tie in the back. It's a little thinner. It looks kind of, I think it looks a little bit better. Perfect. And now, so this is a little shorter, so now all you have to do is connect the 2 ends. And for this one, however, just add the 1/4 inch seam allowance. So this one's done. We're done with the piece number 3. That's the sash that goes around the, So this is, we're going to, I guess you call it the tie or the sash. That pattern piece is done. Okay, now that's the more complicated one, the one that goes on the top of your, on the sides of your head. So now we'll just go to this one. This one's also easy. Over here we're just going to move up, that's an inch, 1 inch or about 2.5 centimeters up to this point. Okay, I should make it easier for you. Maybe I should start putting the numbers here. 1, 2, this will 0.3, this is 0.4, this will be 0.5. So for point number 5, it's just 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters approximately up. Put the dot there. Now, go on in about 31.5 centimeters in, or in American it's inches, so that's 12.5 inches in from this point. Okay. Same at the top, do the very same measurement up here and put the point there. Okay. And that's just it's just a guideline. It's not something that's important for the pattern, but you need it to make the pattern. So you know how we do. Just do a dotted line there. And then from here, from this end, measure in 2¼ inches, which is about 5.5 centimeters. Okay, so put the dot there. All right. Let's number the dots. 5. Let's make this 6. We'll make this 7. This dot will be, I guess we can make this 8. We have to do another dot. Okay, and then from this corner down, just, that's about a little more than 1 centimeter, or 1/2 inch. Okay, and that'll be dot number 9. And now it's easy, connect the dots. 1 second. Papa.
Vegetarian pizza's ready.
It's ready. We were about to connect the dots. So, 9, okay, there was one more dot I forgot down here. 1.5 inches down from point number 6, or that's about 4 centimeters. Okay, and put the dot there. Right there. All right. Okay, that's dot number 10. Now we just connect some dots. So, from point 5 to point 10, draw a nice straight line. From point 10 to point 8, and then from point 8 to point 9. Okay, that one's done. So this is the cutting line. This is the strip that goes across the top of the head. So that one's done. So you see these two pieces are quite simple to do. This one's simple also, but it's a little more complicated. So anyway, here we have the square that we made in the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're just going to put in some guidelines. So the first guideline is corner to corner, just like that. Don't have to measure, just using it as a reference. And then another X and another X. Now, from point 2 inward on this reference line, I should have made it more noticeable. Yeah, this is our reference line. So from point 2, measure down 2 inches down this line, or about 5 centimeters. Here's the dot. We'll call that dot number 5. How about that? we'll measure the same on this side, 2 inches down, or about 5 centimeters. We'll call that point number 6. Okay. There. Okay, good. We've got those. So we've got points 5 and point 6. So now it gets slightly easy. You just take from point 3 to point 5, draw a reference line. Again, so that'll be a dotted line. That's not the cutting line. The solid lines are the cutting lines. Except here, I should have made a dotted line here because there's the seam allowance. But okay, go ahead and draw a straight reference line there. Now from 5 to this point, I probably should have named these points. I probably should have made this point 5, point 6, point 7, and point 8. Let's do that, because I like to number my dots so that they're easier to reference. So 1, 2, 3, 4, this will be 5, this will be 6, this will be 7 after all, and this will be 8. Okay. So from point 7 to point 5, another straight reference line. Then we're going to go out a little bit, we're going to make a curve out of it. But as you can start to see, this is the side of the head. That's part of the, which, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but this is sort of the basics of making a hood. So after this class, you'll also have the basics for making a hoodie, because you know how to make the basic bodice, you know how to elongate it. You're learning how to make a hood now, which is what a durag is. It's a hood, but a short one that you tie on. Okay, point 5 to point 8. You just need to learn how to attach it. Maybe I'll do a hoodie video after this, because I've been saying I'm going to do one for a while and I never did. So, but it'll basically be basic bodice plus this, elongated, and attaching this to the basic bodice. That's your hoodie. Then of course you give it your own spin. Yeah, and I didn't number these either, but as you know, I should have been a little bit more. I'm going to have some written instructions also on this, and the numbers will be very clear there. So, okay, here we go. There's that reference line. Okay, and finally, to finish the pattern, find the midpoint of this line. So this line, 3 to 7, find the midpoint. All right, put a dot there. Find the midpoint of this line. Same thing. So the measurement, you have to use a little math here. It's right there. Probably should number these dots too. I do apologize. Midpoint here, there, and the midpoint here. I already know where it is because I had the cheat sheet, but it's right there. Okay, so there we have these dots. Let's number them just so you can see them. It does get a little messy though. Never mind. You see the dot, let's see, 8. So this will be dot 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so dot 8, measure out straight in a perpendicular to this line. This is just because you want to get a good curve now, because here's the shape of the head, but it's too pointy. So now we're going to just do something so you can get a nice curve, which we've done in previous videos, but just if you need a reminder. So do a perpendicular line out about 1 centimeter in this case, or 3/8 of an inch. There's that dot. I should have numbered those dots, but that's just the first dot. From here, we're going to go out just perpendicular line straight out 1/8 of an inch, which is equal to, oh goodness, it's equal to probably 1/8 of an inch is, gee, it's barely anything. It's like 2-3 millimeters maybe. So from here perpendicular straight out, we get those second dots just alongside the first ones. The first one is a little farther away, but these are closer. And now we'll get our curve. So the curve, you just freehand it. We've done freehand before, and that's what we're doing now. Kind of go, you know, you gotta get from point 3 to point 7. So just make a curve, you know, roughly. So there's your first curve line. You know, it'll be nice and thin with your thin pencil. Now from point 7 to point 5, go through that outer dot also, but creating a curve. You know, it's not, same here, we're 5.5 to point 8, creating a curve using this dot as the reference to continue the curve. And then point 8 to the dot here, midway dot of the height. We finished the curve right there. So here, try to be very neat. Here you have the curve. So our cutting line is going to be this, this, and the curve. That's what we're cutting off. I'm breaking the rules here because this is the scissor I use for cutting fabric, and you're not supposed to use the same scissor for cutting fabric as you use for cutting patterns, but I'm breaking the rules. When we're making the pattern, write the word fold here, because this is the side that's going to be cut along a fold. So you have two pieces, a symmetrical piece. And in this case, here's the side of the the tie or sash. The fold is over here. So let's put fold. Okay, I'll do a picture of all of the pieces once they're cut out. Okay, so this piece, I'll finish cutting it out. Thanks for watching.